comeback's complete. The 76ers, down 3-1, have come all the way back to beat the Boston Celtics.
I'm so proud, and it was my favorite year of my basketball career.
There's just been a lot of stuff, that I've been hearing just going on with the Boston organization, with JB.
I talked to Jaylen Monday a little bit. Nothing but positive. He has not expressed those frustrations to me.
Jaylen Brown voiced his frustrations after the Celtics' historic collapse of the 76ers in round one in a live stream where he criticized everything, officials, Sixers center Joel Embiid, and he created some speculation about his feelings towards his franchise. That was Sunday. The former MVP hopped back online yesterday to clear the air about his feelings towards Boston and his long-term goals within the organization.
I hate that Brad even had to respond to this. Like I said, me and Brad had a great relationship, and I can play in Boston for the next 10 years. I love Boston. So with that being said, moving on, I say this and I stand on this again. And y'all can clip this up. This was my favorite season of my career.
So he doubles down on the part that has some people wondering, you won a championship before, but this is your favorite season. Perk, I want to go to you first on this. You heard Tracy McGrady in the sound that we played there in the comments that he said about some of the tension. Is the drama surrounding Jaylen Brown and the Celtics something, or is it a big nothing?
Oh, it's everything. It's everything. First of all, my advice to Jaylen Brown is to go on vacation, bro. Go on vacation. Like, quit doubling down because you're making matters worse. That's the first thing. Second thing is, let me tell you why it's everything. Because, one, T-Mac and Jaylen Brown have a personal relationship. So a few people has dropped the ball in this situation. One was T-Mac on this podcast, and I love T-Mac. Because for him to say that, where are you getting that information from? Right? And I'm not gonna and I'm not gonna question T-Mac credibility because never. That's my guy.
And he's a real one.
But he dropped the ball by dropping that information. And now you listening to Jaylen Brown. One, if you're gonna say this was your favorite season of your career, can you provide context and tell us why? Can you tell us why? This is a guy that has won the NBA championship, finals MVP, conference finals MVP, and all of it. And it's been questions out there, Stephen A., Wilbon, Courtney, about the relationship off the floor with him and Jason Tatum. Now, the one thing I do a lot is I'm going to watch Wilbon every day. I'm going to watch Stephen A. every day. I'm going to watch what y'all do say on social media. I'm fans. I also watch Jaylen Brown. And I done seen him throughout the whole course of this season be on his live stream. And I tune in and I listen. And the fan base has been asking him, hey, man, when is Jason Tatum coming on? When is Tatum coming on? And all he kept saying is, oh, he's going to come. He's going to come. JT was just busy X, Y, and Z. Well, he still haven't came on. And so when you think about with Jason Tatum, him coming back, him taking a back seat. He took a back seat, JB, and let you be the Batman of this car that you was driving. And you excited? And you're talking about this is the best season after you home in the first round? Can somebody help me out? All I'm saying is stop, dog. At this point, stop. And you're probably going to get another fine. The NBA fined you $50,000 for your first comments, and then you somewhat double down again yesterday on your live stream about a question officiating again. Stop. Every time you speak, you're only making matters worse, period.
Amen to everything Perk just said. Stephen A., there's no really, look, Jaylen Brown is a smart guy. He's a very sensitive guy, which I think is how he gets into some of these situations, or at least our perception of the situation. He's proud, he's outspoken. All of those things can add up to not just smoke, but fire. They can. And by the way, he doesn't have to be questioning Brad Stevens in any way to wind up being dealt. This is a league of people, of stars who are dealt. If you can deal Wilt, you can deal anybody. Kevin Durant's been on what, 5, 6 teams? How many teams Harden been on? I mean, it's a rare star that is on one team a Steph Curry. LeBron's been on whatever number of teams. Stars move in this league. Am I going to be surprised no matter what is said on the record if Jaylen Brown is to move? No. If I was another team, and I love Jaylen Brown, okay? I know I voted for him third on my MVP ballot this year and could have been higher. Only had him behind Joker and SGA and then Joker in that order, and then Jaylen Brown ahead of Wemby because of what he did all year to keep the Celtics in serious contention, most of it without Tatum. If I'm another team looking to get better right now, I am calling the Celtics, and I'm ready to make an offer. And yes, the Milwaukee Bucks ought to be one of them. It's not saying the Celtics have to say yes.
Okay.
But I'm listening. Am I going to pay Tatum and Brown $600 million between the two of them over these coming years? Am I definitely going to do that? Or am I going to look to shake things up in a different way and have a roster which might not have this? If I'm another team that's a contender, I'm calling the Celtics. I'm going to make them tell me no.
All right. Let's stick with the subject at hand, though, because it's Jaylen Brown as it pertains to this relationship with Jason Tatum. Based off of what he said, this is his favorite year. You got knocked out in the first round. The Boston Celtics, one of the top two most storied franchises, if not the most storied franchise in the history of basketball annals, lost a 3-1 lead for the first time in its history, in its postseason history. And its star this season, and one of its top two preeminent stars over the last 7 years, goes on camera 24 hours after losing, not 6 months, not 8 months, not the next season. 24 hours after losing a 3-1 lead, and says this is his favorite. Was his favorite year.
3 games at home.
3 games at home. Now you can't do that. And oh, by the way, you want me to make it worse, Mike Wilbon? Kendrick Perkins just pointed out that Jason Tatum hasn't appeared on Jaylen Brown's program. You know where Jason Tatum was? Right here on First Take. Jason Tatum. So in other words, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum showed up on First Take before he showed up on your damn show. How? And then this is stuff that just flying over your head? You think nobody notices that hasn't happened? You're saying it's the year that Jason Tatum was down with an Achilles tear is your favorite year? Yeah. The year that Jason Tatum had to sit out, this closeout Game 7 because of the injury he incurred in Game 6. That's your favorite year? The year that you lose 3-1. Of all the stars in the history of the Boston Celtics, you the only one because you were driving a bus. Ain't nobody pointing to Jason Tatum. He was sitting.
Right.
He was sitting. He was in street clothes. You the only one. The only star in the history of the Boston Celtics that ever lost a 3-1 lead and surrendered it, and that's your favorite year. Why? Because you and your teammates developed better chemistry and camaraderie? You understand what I'm saying? Because you overcame adversity?
What happens? What's the remedy? Given all these things you're pointing out, I'm with you. But that's why I brought up the whole trade thing again. What are you going to do about it?
I don't mind. But what I'm saying is the first order of business is that he needs to be quiet and, like Big Perk said, go on vacation unless you're trying to get traded.
Everything we know about Jaylen Brown is calculated because the comments that he made, I love Boston. If it was up to me, I would be here another 10 years. He just put the onus on the front office, and I guess we'll see what that leads to during summer conversations. We'll leave this one here. We'll say goodbye to Wilbon. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
The Knicks had the Garden rocking last night, but how should New York fans be feeling as this series shifts down to Philly? That's next. Fresh Hour, First Take on the way.